welcome to Bites by Nancy Momba. In this video, I'll be showing you how to stack a cake. We'll stack a two-tiered cake. A lot of you have been telling me how you struggle with that, so I thought we'll do a video on that. And I'm hoping by the end of this video, you confidently stack a cake. Just don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell. First thing we're going to do is we'll get our non-slip mat and then we'll put it on our cake stand. Just put that there. That will just stop your cake moving about. I'll get my cake. That's the bottom tier, the bigger one. So imagine the cake's like a pyramid. You want to start big at the bottom and then smaller as you go up. So we'll start by doweling the cake, and what doweling does is it just makes sure that you have a firm structure in place. So we want, when we put the cake, the smaller cake on the top, that the bigger cake at the bottom doesn't crumble. That's what doweling does. It's a bit like construction actually. Oh, I sound really fancy there. There we go. So I'll just get my dowels. You can buy these, they're readily available. I got a pipe cutter, and make sure you don't use it for anything else. And there's loads of these in cake shops as well as online. So what we do now is you want the diameter, the exact diameter of the cake that's going on the top. Some people will get out the circle and measure, but that's a bit too technical. I tend to just look at it and think this is 5 inch. So this is a 7-inch cake, and then I'm having a 5-inch cake going up. If you want, just get your food safe tape measure and measure a 5-inch circle. It should be the exact size as the cake that's going on the top. So I'll put my dowels in there. And you want your dowels to sit right underneath the top cake. So there's no point having them in the side because that's not where the cake is sitting. I think you get that by now. And that's my second one there. We're going to put them in like a circle. Sometimes you could put them in, you could do it however you want to do it. Another one there. Is this a circle or a square? It will be a circle when I put the middle one in. One there, and I've got one there. So you can add as many as you need, but within that diameter, which is the same size as the cake. So what I'll do now is I'll just lift that, and it tells me where it ends by looking at that little mark. Sometimes you can mark it off with a edible marker or something like that, but we don't need to do that because we can see. And when it comes out clean, I usually just wiggle it a little bit so that it messes the end of the dowel, then I know where it's been. And I don't want it to be at that level. I want to go a little bit lower so that I don't have the dowel sticking up, because then that means the cake won't be stable. So just so you can see, my dowel cutter is pretty good. How fancy is that? Fancy Nancy. And then I'll use the same one to push it in. I think it's a lot more hygienic than using your fingers, which, you know. So I'll use that pushes it in, and there we go. And I'll do the same for the rest of them. So I know where the cake, where the cake ends from there. That's just showing me clearly. I'll go in with my dowel cutter, just a little bit below that, and I'll cut, hopefully a clean line, if I can manage that. That's it. And I'll do the same. I'll use that to push it in. I've got my third one there. Go. I'll just wiggle that so that it can catch the end, and I'll know where it ended. There we go, done that. So what's that doing is it's just giving us some firm foundation. Oh, see what I did there? And then I'll just get my icing, which is the same icing. Try and use the matching icing. I know sometimes you can eat a cake that's been stacked and somebody has added a different one. It can alter the taste a little bit, but I feel using the same icing is a lot better. Although sometimes cake makers will use royal icing for very obvious reasons because it's much firmer. And what I'm doing here is just covering up those dowels very nicely with my nice little spatula there. I think that's so cute. And then my top cake that's going on, that's a 5-inch cake. That's chilled. My hands are clean. I'm sure they are. And I'll just hold that and I'll just put it on there, press it in, and then just make sure you've got your center. That's it. So we can put that flour back on now. Naughty. There we go. Ta-da! And then we want to clear up those edges because you can still see the board. The other thing I forgot to mention was underneath this small cake, we've got a small cake card which I'll link so that you can see what they look like, and it's the exact size of this cake. So if you've got a 5-inch cake on top, you want a 5-inch cake card to sit the cake on so that the cake is on a card. That means you can lift the cake. And if this is going to a wedding venue, they'll just get a knife or a spatula and they can easily just find that card and lift this cake off. That's how it works. So what I'm going to do is I'll get my piping bag with the same icing and we'll just go around there so that we can cover that edge very gently, and then we'll try and smooth it. So we need to cover that card so that it's not in plain sight. There we go. And then what we'll do is we'll just try and smooth that as best as we can. And then if you think your board is showing, like mine is starting to show again, just cover it up. If you have a scraper that is flexible, those are good for these. You can use that as well. Now we could be smoothing this forever, so I'll just do my best, just quickly. So I've got a flexible scraper here. And what this will do is to just try and help us tidy these edges up. So I'm trying to get myself a nice clean finish, as clean as I can get it. But bearing in mind this design is a little bit rustic, so we're not going for a really completely smooth because we've got waves on the cake, so we could get away with it not being too smooth rather. We'll keep going, and if your board shows, you just cover it up. There we go. So if you've got a cake that's been iced and it's not wavy, it's a lot easier because you just go that way. But this one has waves, so we've got to like try and keep the theme of the cake going as well. And what we'll do now is we'll get some pearls and put a few there so that they match the rest of the cake. So I'll just get my pearls there. Because the icing there is still fresh, they won't bounce off. So if the icing is hard, let's see if I can try it on the top one. That's what happens, it just bounces off. So because we've got fresh icing, they'll stay on. That's it. We'll do it that way so that that matches the theme of the cake. A nice rustic finish there. We're not going for something overly smooth. We can do that when we want to, but not today. There we go. And there we have it, a beautiful tortilla stacked cake. Not as scary as you thought, is it? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.